Greetings, groovy people! I'm the self-proclaimed Blue Dragon, and I'm welcoming you to this week's Art With Me video. Cosmic Design Power! Sorry, can you wow, never do that again. I'll do it again. Can you tell I've been rereading Sailor Moon for the Blues Review section of my Cerulean Dreams blog? So, yeah, it's been kind of having an influence on me, and actually it's been improving some of my comic stuff. Links to everything regarding my stuff down below. This week I'm doing a speed paint of my business card, which you might recognize as my YouTube banner also, and my Patreon banner. While I color this page, I want to talk a little bit about design, the color scheme, and the text choices that I made. So yeah, this is more like a technical talk, more so than like a talk about my comic. If that's something that doesn't interest you, next week I'm talking about Dark Horse. I'm not obviously a professional in this line of business, but I have done graphic design work in the past. I never worked for a design firm, but my major actually was visual arts. I actually was only one essay away from being a double major, not to show off, I'm just saying I put in 10 years of work, and then my ASS was too lazy, if you can't spell, I was too lazy to finish one final essay. I would say I was burnt out more so than lazy, but I really am regretting that choice. Don't make the stupid choices I make, please, you guys. Finish what you start. But I have done design work, of course for art classes, but also for the National Park Service. I did an awful lot of work that's government, so I don't have my name or anything credited to it other than being the editor of a short newsletter that we had at the time for the Lincoln Bicentennial. But I also did some work for the Junior Ranger program book. An intern started it. He had so much to do that he really didn't have time to finish and polish it before he left. So that kind of fell to me, since that was something that I was majoring in and I was one of the full-time employees there. I mean, I was with the STEP program. And then also, people have utilized that at Northern Illinois University whenever I worked there as a secretary. We were understaffed and you had to wear many different hats. So when we were doing different programs and things for like, you know, the first of the nursing program, we had like an anniversary thing, and then I had like, there were like programs and I made little button designs. I actually collaborated on that with Boss, who also had like a design background. So you had to wear many different hats, and I actually do have some experience in design, so I'm not just talking out of my butt. Now that I've convinced you that I have some credits to my name, I'm gonna tell you, I never really applied this to my own personal art because I'm an idiot. I just kind of did what was fun, and now I've been reaping the rewards of not taking that into consideration. So if art is something you want to do professionally and you want to be your own boss, think about these sort of things before you're 6 acts into a comic. So anyway, when I was approaching the layout for the front of this card, I wanted to keep it relatively simple while also telling the viewer what to expect from my art. I work primarily in a cartoony style, so that's why I have my persona here instead of doing something like this charcoal right here. I don't want people to expect that from me. I don't dislike working in that, but I'm too impatient to do realism. Let's put it that way. I like to draw in the cartoony style, so that's why I chose that for my persona. And then, of course, the Blue Dragon is my pen name, so that's why I was going under that. The ink droplets in the background, they are first and foremost showing that that's the medium that I tend to work in, so that's why I chose the ink dots. They're kind of cutesy. And then also, I do some of my own patterns. More and more, I've been creating my own patterns so as not to step on anyone's toes and have to worry about like fair use and all that. I mean, I do have some green tones and stuff that I myself purchased from different computer packs years ago, so I mean that I have the right to use. So I've been creating a lot of my own. So that was the idea behind what I chose here, the images that I chose for the card. So it wasn't just, oh, let's do some cutesy things. I did put some thought into it so that it was some cutesy things and is relaying a subliminal message to people. So if you're doing your own design, you know, don't make it overly cryptic. Don't make something, I mean, a lot of times even within my own comic, I'll make oddball references to 60s stuff that nobody in this day and age is going to get, hardly. So don't be like so incredibly cryptic with your symbolism that no one's gonna get it, but do have a little bit of fun with it and have whatever you put on there have some kind of meaning to you, so that you can maybe relay that to like the viewer or the person picking up your card. The next thing I had to take into consideration consideration was the composition. That's basically how you set up your images, what the card actually looks like besides the actual individual images. So I know it's tempting to want to center everything and make everything beautifully symmetrical. You know, you can do that and it can be very successful, but a lot of times it can be very eye-catching to place an image off center, because instead of like just being right in the center view, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like it's, you know, like the Hokusai, the wave, it's very asymmetrical. The image, you know, the big wave is off to the left, and then the swoop of the wave kind of draws your eye down. So I mean, composition, you know, you got to take that into consideration. So I decided to have, you know, the image off to the left and then have the text off to the right, and that also gave me space to have enough room for all the text that I wanted. Which brings me to the next topic, the fonts that you choose. I actually have fell into the font quandary, and actually it was just this year that a really nice gentleman over on Comic Fury, he's closed down his account or something. He gave me some constructive criticism and commented that my scripts, my fonts on my title pages are extremely difficult to read. And that was because I just had like these fancy script-like fonts, you know, like cursive, stuff like that. And all I did was like have a stroke weight around the font, but it was still very difficult to read because it was against a very heavily patterned background. So legibility is extremely important, and I've since gone back and fixed it. It's still a script font, but I have the white font against a black background so that it's easy to read. I still am able to, you know, keep that little bit of fanciness, but it's a lot easier for viewers to read and actually see what I'm trying to say the title is. So that was extremely helpful criticism, and I took that into account when I did my business card. There are different types of text classes. So the Blue Dragon art is called a sans serif. There's no little tails off the S's or the I's. It's like block letters almost, I guess is a good way to explain that. And then when you're using two different fonts, you can, but you really want to make them two different classes. So, you know, you've got your sans serif, you've got your serif, there are scripts, there are graphic. You know, like sometimes people might have a font that's like graffiti looking. Those are like different classes of text, and I wanted one that would complement the sans serif but still look, still be legible. So that's why I picked the serif font. It's probably Baskerville. That's like my favorite font of all time, to be quite honest. So I picked two different classes of fonts. They differentiate. You know, I've got the title, that's set aside on its own and it's a little bit bigger, and then a little bit smaller in a different font so that you can see this is the subtitle. These are the things that I work on. I do videos, I do graphic design, whatever. So that's the story behind the font. When you're writing comics or doing anything, if you want people to read it, it needs to be something that people can read. You don't want it to be ambiguous. You want to make sure that it's Word of Wednesday disambiguous. It's very clear. It's very illicit what you're trying to say there. So that's something that I took into consideration for the text of, or I should say the font and the text for this card. And then the last topic is the color choices. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't pull out the wheel for this. I just picked these colors because I liked them and I thought they complemented each other. And of course blue had to be in it, but as it turns out, the blues and the purples, and I guess that's kind of a teal. It's really more of like a light blue. This is actually called an analogous color scheme. It's probably one of my favorites to use. I do it quite often. I think I did it on my Redbubble banner. Here's the video for that. But analogous, it's just a fancy way of saying that these colors are adjacent to each other on the color wheel. So you might have like yellow, green, and blue. That would be like that kind of tealish blue. That would be an analogous color scheme. So yeah, I mean, it's something that you want to take into consideration. I wanted to make sure that the colors look good together, but I also wanted to make sure that, again, everything would be legible. So I had a lighter color for the font against that darker box that I chose to multiply on the layer in Photoshop. So you could still see that background, which I think I embossed it, is the filter that I used, and that's called embossing. I might have done a base relief. I always get those two mixed up. But I wanted to make sure I did all that so that things would be legible and you could see it. You know, you look at my card, you see what I'm about, you see what I do, and that's pretty much it. That's why I made the choices I did for this specific design. I really hope that you guys found this video interesting and maybe helpful, maybe learn some basic concepts of design if you guys out there are artists yourself, or if you just want to know a little bit about why people choose the designs they do. I got my references down below. Robin Williams, the designer, it's a woman, it's not the comedian. My favorite book for designing is called The Non-Designer's Design Book. I've got the affiliate linked, but I would check things out first to see if you like it, you know, kind of test the waters, go to your local library, support that, and then, you know, if it's something that you like, then you make the plunge. Question of the week is, what's your favorite color combo? What colors do you personally think go well together and you like to see together? And it doesn't have to be part of color theory. If you personally like to do something, you have every right to like whatever color combination you want. If you like the video, like it, sub, do the bell thing, if you so desire. Peace and love, fare you well, and as always, folks, keep on trucking.